Well, we obviously didn't get the result that we wanted the other night against Seton Hall. We're going to have another opportunity to have another really competitive home game against another really good opponent here in the Big East. You know, Creighton, they're really talented. They're well coached. Coach McDermott does a great job. They have a top 10 offense in the entire country. You know, they're led by Zagorowski, Baylock, and Tyshawn Alexander. We're going to have our hands full on the perimeter. Really try to limit their threes. We got to be able to really control the tempo of the game. They're really going to try to push the ball. Like I said, we're going to have our hands full. We got to be able to win with defense, and I didn't think we did that against Seton Hall. Our offense was good enough. Our defense wasn't nearly good enough. We got to get that corrected tomorrow afternoon against Creighton. Yeah, you know, again, number one, give Seton Hall a lot of credit. They're a terrific team. They made some really hard shots, but we got to get rid of the easy baskets, right? You know, whether it was a turnover that led to a layup, a gamble that led to a layup, underneath out of bounds defense, which led to a couple layups, some back-breaking points. You know, we got to get rid of those, and we just got to make them earn every single point that they get.
You know, for a team coming off what you called the worst defensive performance of the season, what do you expect to see at that end of the floor on Saturday? Like, what would be a good indication of, hey, you know what, we were locked in on that end?
You know, number one, you know, again, Creighton is different than Seton Hall. You know, every game's going to pose different challenges. You know, I thought with Seton Hall, it was the worst points per possession that we gave up all year. And again, Seton Hall made some tough shots, but we got to get rid of the layups. You know, I think with Creighton, what I want to see is first and foremost, they got to be able to play against our half-court defense. They push the ball faster than any team in our league. They're going to play like they're shot out of a cannon on both misses and makes. And we got to be able to get back, adhere to our transition defensive rules, and be able to have that sense of urgency with our talk, with the way that we run, sprint back. We got to make sure they run half-court offense. And secondly, in the half court, then I got to see guys in the stands. I got to see guys talking. That tells me that you're engaged. When guys stand or guys aren't talking, that means they're not engaged. It means we don't have a team defense. It's not a defense one-on-one. It's 5-on-5. You have to score against all 5 guys here at Xavier.
Bryce Moore has been someone you've described as a pit bull defensively, but he played pretty sparingly in the last game. What can he do to get more minutes, and is his defense, you know, could that help you in this stride? Yeah,
I absolutely think so. You know, we got to get Bryce on the floor a little more. There's no doubt about that. You know, I think he has a chance. He's been really good for us defensively outside of maybe the Villanova game. You know, but I think we need his tenacity and his toughness on that end of the floor. And I think Bryce knows who he is, right? You know, he knows what his role is on this team. That's to be a guy that brings great energy and be a tough guy on the defensive end. And we got to find a way to get him on the floor. This is a great game for him.
What does he do well defensively? Is it his stance? Is it his the way he knows when the play is coming? What is?
Yeah, I think number one, it's his tenacity. You know, when you see him on the ball, I think it inspires others to play harder, right? You know, like always say, like when you see that initial guy that's whoever's bringing up the ball for the opposing team, and you see a guy in a stance really trying to turn that guy, playing tough on the ball, it inspires guys to play harder. It engages your teammates. Bryce does that. And then I think he's a tough guy. He is. He's physically strong. He's smart. He plays great angles on defense. He's got good instincts. You know, we need to find a way to get him on the floor more, and he will be tomorrow.
What about Jason Carter? He sat out yesterday. Do you think he'll practice today and be ready tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm hopeful that he'll practice today. You know, it was more being cautious yesterday with Jason. You know, his ankle was bothering him, obviously, during the game against Seton Hall. He played well offensively. I thought he struggled a little bit defensively. Wasn't moving as well. But he should be good to go versus Creighton.
At this point in the season, how difficult is it to be patient, and how important do you think that is when you're 16 games in and you know that your team's capable of giving you more?
You know, the season, I always say, is a marathon. And, you know, your season could take a lot of different turns, right? It's a winding road. It's never just a straight line. It doesn't exist. even the best teams in the country. We want to obviously play our best basketball at the right time of the year, but at the same time, you always strive for just continuous growth, right? That's what you want as a coach. You want that continuous kind of climb. Realistically, probably not going to happen, but that's what we're striving for. And again, we have to play with desperation. That's what I told our guys. Like if you look at last season, if we finished strong, but if we would have taken care of some business during non-conference opportunities, even kind of in the middle part of the Big East, we wouldn't have been in the position that we were in. And so you always have to play with that sense of desperation, and that's what we're going to get out of Creighton. Creighton's 1-2. Creighton's a heck of a team. I mean, I think they're a top 25 level team. I really do. And we're going to have our hands full. So we have to play with that same desperation or more and more. And, again, it's going to be a big challenge, and I want to play with a great sense of urgency tomorrow. See that.
Those are the words I was going to ask about, urgency, desperation. Do you think it does amp up, Coach, that you are 1-2 in conference? And, look, it's still a wide-open conference. Everybody from top to bottom can still win this thing. But when you are 1-2 and you're trying to build a resume, just how desperate do you think this team is to defend home court against a good team tomorrow?
I mean, we have to be. I mean, our back's against the wall. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it every single day. And I think that's the way we have to approach it. I mean, it's another great opportunity. I keep on saying we're going to have a million opportunities to get great wins here to build our resume, but we got to do it now. We can't keep on saying, oh, hey, it's going to happen in a week or in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I want it now. We needed it yesterday. But, again, we got another great opportunity against Creighton. We got to take advantage of it. We got to play with that sense of urgency.
When Zach Fremantle plays and maybe doesn't play the way he wants to, his frustration is very evident. You can see it when he's coming off the court and sitting on the bench. Have you guys found a way to kind of calm him down when he's just kind of off the rails there and so just fixated on the things he did wrong?
Yeah, Zach is he's really, really obviously hard on himself. That's what the great ones are, though, right? Like, it bothers him when he doesn't maybe finish a play or he messes up a defensive assignment. He cares. So first and foremost, that's what that shows me. Number two, he's got to show maturity, right? So he's got to learn how to channel that in the right direction. But we have those talks. We show him film of it because he does have to mature. He's got to get better in those areas, and he will. And he will. He plays to win. I mean, even though he gets frustrated with himself, he always puts the team before himself.
One of the things I was interested in when you're preparing for an opponent like Creighton or any opponent really, I know that you watch every single one of their games and you really kind of delve into them and study them, but do you make it a point to spend more time looking at, like, say, what Creighton did against Marquette when they were really good, or do you look at Villanova Butler and say, you know what, here's what Villanova and Butler did to kind of get by Creighton? Like, how do you kind of balance that when you prepare?
Yeah, I think you look for the why. Why did Creighton play so well? Like, for example, against Marquette, and you look at why did they get the result that they did against Villanova and Butler? But at the same time, we're not Villanova and Butler. But you do look to see why those things kind of occurred. Then you also watch last year's games, right? How did they guard us last year? Now, obviously, we have a different team than we did last year, and so do they. They have some different players, but schematically, what did they do to attack us? How did they counterpunch? Because we played each other 3 times last year. How did they attack us inside? How did they guard us inside in the post? How did they guard our ball screens? And what adjustments can we make? But you're always kind of looking for the why at them. But at the same time, in respect, you always know kind of who we are. How can we, Xavier, attack? What's our advantage going into this game?
Do you have a clear idea? I mean, like on paper,
is Greg McDermott listening to this? Huh?
It would seem like Creighton, they really kind of earn their paycheck on the perimeter. That's where they can hurt you in transition. But you look at them, and on paper, it would seem like, I think the guy that's going to be guarding Tyreek's got 35 pounds on him. That would seem like an area where you guys can exploit against them. Would you agree?
I mean, I would hope so. I mean, Tyreek, to me, it can be the best front court guy in this league. And it doesn't matter whether we're playing Creighton or Seton Hall or whoever it is, But I do. You always look at what your advantage is, right? And they have 3 of the best guards tandem in the Big East. I mean, those guys, they could shoot the ball from 35 feet off the dribble, off the catch. They know how to play. They share the ball. They are dynamic offensively, dynamic. Now, I know they're going to probably try to make it tough on Tyreek, right? You know, they're going to say, okay, well, Tyreek has, whatever you said, 30-some pounds or whatever on maybe their interior players. Well, they're going to try to make his catches probably tough. They're probably going to post-trap him, right? And we got to prepare for those certain things kind of going into the game. Thanks.